Hey, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update about where I am on my AI journey. So from the last episode, I basically talked about how I left my $100,000 job to go all into AI. And not gonna lie, it's kind of been a bit tough, tougher than I thought it honestly would be. I think there's a lot of kind of like promise online about how you could do so much with end-to-end workflows, automations, and so forth, and like AI voice agents. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through this episode about the kind of last week, the conversations I've had with potential clients. And if you wait right to the end, I'm going to talk about how I actually landed one client who's paid me £5,000 here in the UK, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So just to give you a little bit of an update about the first business around AI that I had. So I thought I'd just bring this up for you on screen. So just kind of give you a little visual identity about like what it is that I'm actually trying to sell. So my background has always been in like learning and development. So working with businesses like KPMG, Aviva here in the UK, and some global companies to basically look at their learning products. So I basically built a platform called Audioflow, which is kind of like Google's LLM or notebook, sorry. And what it does is that it kind of takes your content, it turns it into a conversation, and you can select your voices that you want and then make it into a podcast. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, Google already does this. But the thing is that Google doesn't do is that it doesn't allow you to actually distribute that into like a commercial environment. So basically what that means is it doesn't let you publicly use that for business use, to make it simple. And also with the Google version, you can't like change the voices, you can't make it English, you can't go back and edit the script if you're not happy with it. And there's quite a few variations of things that you can't do. So next week, I'm actually doing a 2-day event in Birmingham in the UK, and that's to around about 3,500 learning and development professionals from different businesses, from small businesses, medium to enterprise. And my aim is just basically to try to get as many leads as possible, to have as many conversations as possible during that time, so I can actually really promote this. Because I think with these livable bolt replit tools, it's great when you can actually build these tools. And if you're building it for other people, that's an option, because that's something that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But when you're building it for yourself, it's getting the distribution, it's getting out there, and it's not as easy as you think, especially when it comes to building tools that are kind of made for business. And I'll kind of show you what I've been doing over LinkedIn as well, which might kind of give you a bit of clarity, and how I've been growing my LinkedIn to get decision makers to really look at the platform and kind of understand what it is that we're trying to sell here. So just to kind of like go into the back end of this, this is all built in Lovable, and the kind of tools that I used and the APIs that I used to build this is OpenAI, 11 Labs. I used, what else have we used? Resend to send out email confirmations. And Superbase is obviously the back end, because that's what Lovable used, but now they've come out with their cloud-based service so that you don't need to use Superbase anymore. So it's really exciting. And so basically, I just quickly just jump onto my LinkedIn and I'll show you about how I've actually been marketing this. So as I was saying before, with LinkedIn, I'm going with a kind of stage approach here. One is to actually manage the Audioflow LinkedIn page, and then the other side is using my personal brand to really push this to my followers, because I've already got around about 2,000 followers on LinkedIn, and some of them are big decision makers in some kind of top companies. I'm going to try to leverage my position with them and kind of get the brand awareness out there as much as possible. Now, I don't expect people just to kind of see this and kind of go, oh my God, I want this. This is what I need within the business. It's just definitely not going to happen like that. With kind of top exec people, they're so busy, they flick through LinkedIn. And my approach is just to message them directly and just say, here's like a 14-day free trial, just to be able to try Audioflow. But what I want to do is try to get them to kind of in their kind of conscious minds is kind of see Audioflow, so they're aware of it before I start approaching them. So what I've been doing is I've just been posting like 2-3 times a day over my over my LinkedIn page, and over the actual like business page itself. As you can see, this is just newly formed last week, so there's only 27 followers at the moment, because people are obviously seeing it from my own profile. And then what you need to do you try to get them to then follow the actual page. But if you look at the kind of like, I don't know, Richard Branson's for out there for Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic doesn't have as many followers as Richard Branson does because people buy off people. And that's kind of the approach that I've been taking. But I know it's a sales game, so I know that I need to kind of be a bit more aggressive and start messaging people to start playing around with the platform and giving them that free access to be able to do that. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with Audioflow. The other thing that I did this week is I actually started thinking about like just consulting with businesses who need AI kind of services because I think I can kind of get faster income coming in by just doing some kind of like AI consultancy roles. Because I think like automations and then everything like that is kind of great. It's kind of like what you would offer afterwards. But I think the first stage approach for me is that I'm going to be looking how a business can improve with AI. Now, this is what I've done to kind of get that £5,000 client that I mentioned earlier. But I'll quickly just show you about Day 7, which is actually the new agency that I've set up. So Day 7 is basically my consultancy business. And it's kind of going to go through a 4-stage approach here. So I thought just kind of because everyone knows about the voice agent part, like it's kind of more of the familiarity, what people are kind of seeing out there. I will offer that just because I think it's kind of like a quick win into certain things. But a couple of things that I want to do more kind of for my own self is build custom platforms and solutions for businesses. And I've already hired a software engineer to help me out with this. I've also got somebody from my other agency, which is the marketing agency, to come on board with this business as a kind of percentage holder. So it kind of incentivizes him to really start working on this as well as his current day job. So because I think with this, there's going to be kind of different approaches that I'm going to need to take. I'm going to need to be like the face of the business. So I'm going to be the one who has the conversations, drives the business to come to Day 7. And then I'll have people in the background just building all the automations and the workflows and the kind of custom products that we're going to be servicing. And that's kind of the way that I'm going to be doing it because it's a full-time job in itself, just getting the brand out there, getting the name out there, getting your services to be known, opposed to then being able to then just sit there doing it. So I think for me, I need a team behind me who can actually just do the work. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you just go hire people until the work comes in, because the worst thing you want to do is that having people just do nothing. The good thing about me, because obviously I have my other agency, my software engineer who I've just hired, they're basically building custom software for the other agency. And what that can do then is that will help us use them as examples to show to clients about how we've done this within our own agencies and our own workflows. And this is what we can do for you as well. So yeah, there's a couple of things that we're kind of going to do with the service. So obviously AI receptionist is one, automations is another, custom projects, which I talked about before. So building kind of custom platforms for people, getting rid of subscriptions. So a lot of people at the moment, what they're doing is that they're looking at the kind of tech stack, looking at how much they're spending on subscriptions in their company, and then reducing that by actually just building things internally now. Now, not everybody knows how to do that internally, and that's where we come in. So we'll basically build them kind of like a MVP over like Lovable, and then if it becomes more kind of needing more development and it needs to have a lot more scale behind it, then we'll use other platforms in order to actually scale it. But just kind of test the water, something cheap and cheerful for a business. We'll build a kind of like AI project. Now, I say cheap, as I say a £5,000 to £10,000 project. But for a business, that's not quite as much as what they used to, because previously they were paying probably like 100,000 for a development of a project or more. So obviously that's like a 90% reduction in price. So yeah, this is kind of like the quick service. Now, with my other agency, because we service and market a lot of dental practices, I have a kind of wide network of dental practice owners that I already know and or have already had a conversation with, have been previous clients or existing clients. And that's where that kind of £5,000 project came into play. So one thing that I had a conversation with as soon as I kind of went into this world is that I messaged everybody that I knew saying that I'm doing this. Some were interested, some weren't, some just ignored me, which is normal. So that if that ever happens to you, honestly, don't worry. And I sold a voice agent to a dental practice owner to handle their calls. Now, a lot of people, and I've seen this over Instagram at the moment, is that a lot of people are showing you how to just to build voice agents. It's easy. You can just throw some information into it. Now, to a dental practice owner, honestly, that does not matter. What matters is what actually happens after the call. So, how is that information being taken from their current systems? Now, a lot of people here in the UK use systems or CRMs, such as one called Dentally, Boxley, HubSpot, and some others. And what the agent needs to do is that it has to actually go and look at what information or calendar events that are available. So if it's looking for an appointment with Dr. X or Hygienist Y, when are they available? What times are they available? What day? And can it actually be booked in? And if I call to cancel my appointment, can it actually then go into the system and cancel that appointment and then talk to that customer at the same time? Now, this is what people need. People need solutions to solve their problems because there's no point of a voice agent picking up a phone. Yeah, it can produce a Google Doc sheet, which is fine. It can kind of surface all the information onto there. But then it's still relying on a human to be able to manage that in the morning or in the day and kind of put that in the system. When if you're trying to like look at the kind of cost perspective and time perspective and the savings and the efforts that are done, what the solution is that we've presented to this dental practice owner and why we've charged so much is because the voice agent is the first part of it, where they're going to integrate into their learning into their CRM, and then we're going to basically have that automation piece happen in the background. So for them, they're looking at it as my front of house doesn't need to deal with phone calls. They can actually manage the customers or the patients when they come through the door. They can deal with other admin tasks, taking away the kind of just like handling of calls. The other way that I've sold it as well is obviously after hours. So obviously like who handles the calls after the staff go home. So as an emergency, so if, say for example, you break your tooth, you call through to a dental practice, nobody's there. I'm going to keep calling somebody until somebody picks up the phone because I'm in pain. What this does is that it basically then picks up the phone straight away. It books it into the system to say that in the morning at 2 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, for example, as soon as we start, we'll get you booked in and then you can come here and be seen. So this is basically what's helped us kind of do this. A lot of people then probably asking like, why aren't I charging like a monthly retainer fee afterwards? Two reasons really. One is this is the first kind of integration that we're doing, so we just want to make sure that we're integrating correctly with the CRM and making sure that connection, so we can actually read the data coming in and out. It can actually book appointments and do what we promised it can do. And the other thing is that it's building trust with the kind of community, because what this first client will do is then, if it works, and it will work, is that it will hopefully have a ripple effect, and she'll tell her friends, her practice owners. She knows quite a big network. She's already messaged me saying like a GP surgery could be interested in the service. And it's kind of having that kind of good faith kind of trickle effect. So that will hopefully then bring a lot more projects in kind of into the voice agent side. And then with the custom projects, that will happen as well, probably in the same way. We'll probably offer some free custom builds to a business so that we can get some case studies back, and then we can take it from there. So that's where we're at this week. Next week, like I said before, I'm at a 2-day event in Birmingham. So I will come back and I'll let you know exactly how I've got on, if I've got any kind of really good, strong leads, and if Audioflow then has its first actual client. Because I know what will happen is that it'll be a lot of like lead generation, and then after the conference, then it'll be a lot of like actual one-on-one conversations, a little bit more of a deep dive. And then we'll kind of go into like contracts and kind of procurement, getting through the doors, probably having to get through security teams from like data perspectives for that. That's why I've kind of wanted to do the agency route at the same time as Audioflow, because I think Audioflow is a long-term game. And if I get bad reactions from the conference that I've done, I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to close Audioflow down and not waste my time there, because if I have an audience of 3,500 people and nobody buys it, even though I'm not going to speak to every single person there because that's impossible, even if I get like 150 conversations during the 2 days and I convert 2 or 3 of them, then it's a win. If I don't, then I know that it's probably not the right market fit. And then I'll just move on to another product or just concentrate all on the day service and just building things for people. So that's where we're at. Love for you to find out more. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to try to keep this as real as possible when it comes to building these agencies, consultancies, or whatever it may be, just to so people are aware of like the real hard graft behind actually building something. Because the conversations where I see podcasts where it's like, oh, I've made 25,000, that it is possible. I'm not saying it's definitely not, but they don't talk to the other 99 people out of 100 and say, oh, these guys have failed. These guys aren't making money off the back of this course, because that doesn't promote them selling their services to you. So I'm going to try to really make this as honest as possible. And I really want you guys to come on this journey with me. Speak soon. Bye.